You're nothing but a dirty mop girl. Know your place. The manager throws coffee on the floor. Clean it. That's all you people are good for. The young black woman, Ilsa, kneels to clean the spill as a group of executives laugh. She keeps her head down, hiding the fire in her eyes. The manager, Patricia Holden, sneers at her. Maybe if you work really hard, one day you might make it to the mailroom, but I doubt it. Laughter erupts again. Patricia whispers to a colleague, not quietly enough. These diversity hires from the projects never last long. Ilsa pulls out her phone discreetly, activates recording, and places it in her pocket. Her eyes meet the camera directly. What would you do if this happened to you at work? Comment below. Little does Patricia know, Ilsa isn't just any cleaner, and she's been documenting everything. Ilsa Johnson arrives at Vertex Technologies headquarters in downtown Chicago at precisely 7:30 a.m. The glass and steel building towers over the financial district, its logo, a sharp green V glowing against the morning sky. She adjusts her plain gray uniform, the name tag reading Lisa Jenkins, pinned carefully to her chest. 3 days earlier, in the mahogany-paneled office of Johnson Enterprises, her father, Marcus Johnson, had shown her the reports. 17 complaints of discrimination at Vertex in the last year alone, all dismissed by HR. He slides the folder across his desk. I need concrete evidence before we consider acquisition. Their tech is revolutionary, but I won't buy a company with a toxic culture. Ilsa, fresh from completing her Harvard MBA with specialization in corporate ethics, had volunteered immediately. I can get you that evidence, Dad. No one notices the cleaning staff. Now she reports to Human Resources, where a board manager barely glances at her paperwork. Executive floor needs coverage. Previous cleaner quit suddenly. He hands her a key card without meeting her eyes. Just don't get in anyone's way. Patricia Holden, operations director, gives Ilsa a cursory tour of the executive floor. Bathrooms need checking hourly. Executives' offices get full service daily. She assigns Ilsa the 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift, the least desirable hours. I assume early mornings work for you people? Throughout her first day, Ilsa observes the stark contrast in Patricia's behavior. Warm, engaging conversations with white employees versus clipped, condescending tones with staff of color. During a phone call, Patricia's voice carries through her half-open door. These diversity quotas are killing efficiency. We're lowering standards to check boxes. Ilsa documents each incident in a specialized app on her phone, designed specifically for workplace discrimination evidence collection. Timestamp, location, witnesses, exact wording. As her shift ends, Patricia calls Ilsa into her office. I'm changing your schedule. We need weekend coverage starting immediately. She doesn't look up from her computer. I'm sure you need the hours. Someone like you probably has lots of mouths to feed. Ilsa notices a family photo on Patricia's desk, her husband in judicial robes, receiving some kind of award. As Ilsa leaves the building, she receives a text from her father. Board meeting moved up. We need results in 30 days, not 90. Day 5 at Vertex Technologies. Ilsa silently pushes her cleaning cart into the main conference room during a department head meeting. The executives barely acknowledge her presence as she begins emptying trash bins along the wall. Patricia Holden stands at the head of the table, presenting quarterly projections. As you can see from slide 15, our technical infrastructure upgrade will increase efficiency by 17%, with a cost-benefit ratio of approximately 2.3. That's incorrect, Ilsa mutters under her breath, focused on her cleaning. The ratio would be 3.7 based on those numbers. Thomas Chen, a junior executive seated near the back, turns his head sharply. He looks at Ilsa with surprise, then back at Patricia's presentation. He checks the figures on his tablet, frowning slightly. Patricia notices the exchange. Is there a problem with the cleaning staff, Mr. Chen? All eyes in the room turn toward Ilsa. Thomas starts to explain. Actually, I was just... If you have time to eavesdrop on executive discussions, you're clearly not working hard enough. Patricia cuts in, addressing Ilsa directly. Her voice carries a sharp edge. These executive discussions are beyond your comprehension anyway. I apologize, ma'am, Ilsa responds softly, continuing to collect trash with downcast eyes. Some people should focus on the jobs they're qualified for, Patricia adds loudly, looking around the room for approval. Several executives shift uncomfortably in their seats, but no one speaks up. After the meeting, Thomas approaches Ilsa in the hallway. Hey, I wanted to say sorry about what happened in there. Ilsa keeps her head down, continues wiping a windowsill. It's fine, I'm used to it. That was actually impressive, what you knew about those metrics, Thomas says, lowering his voice. I checked. You were right. Just something I heard somewhere, Ilsa shrugs. No big deal. I could report her behavior to HR, Thomas offers. That was inappropriate. Please don't, Ilsa says quickly. I need this job. After Thomas leaves, Ilsa pulls out her phone and adds the interaction to her evidence file, noting the names of executives present and their reactions. She begins creating a pattern analysis, categorizing incidents by type and severity. That evening, an email arrives from Patricia to all staff. Mandatory attendance required at company gala next Friday. All employees, including support staff, must attend. A separate note to cleaning crew follows. You'll be working the event and handling cleanup. No overtime authorized. Ilsa forwards the email to an unlisted contact with the message, Perfect opportunity. Time to escalate. The Vertex Technologies Gala transforms the company's austere lobby into a showcase of success. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over executives in formal wear celebrating their newly secured government contract. Ilsa moves efficiently between guests, collecting empty glasses on a tray, her gray uniform marking her as invisible to most attendees. Patricia Holden commands attention at the center of the room, her designer dress and diamond earrings catching the light as she introduces CEO William Barnes to potential clients. William, this is Senator Michaels. I was just explaining how our proprietary algorithms secured that defense contract. She smiles, taking credit for work Ilsa has overheard attributed to Thomas's team. Across the room, a visibly intoxicated executive stumbles, nearly spilling red wine on a potential investor. Ilsa intervenes smoothly, stabilizing his arm and discreetly removing the glass. Perhaps some water, sir? She suggests quietly, guiding him toward a server with non-alcoholic options. Your staff is remarkably well-trained, the investor comments to Patricia, who has witnessed the exchange. Patricia's smile tightens almost imperceptibly. Yes, well, basic competence is the minimum expectation. 20 minutes later, Patricia purposefully jostles against a server near a group of investors, causing red wine to splash across her cream-colored dress. You clumsy girl! She shouts at Ilsa, who stands 3 feet away serving canapes. Do you know how much this Valentino costs? Ilsa immediately sets down her tray and approaches with napkins. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Let me help. This is why we shouldn't hire from certain neighborhoods, Patricia announces loudly enough for nearby executives to hear. No attention to detail. She raises her voice further. Maybe if you'd finished high school, you'd have better job options. The room quiets. Conversations halt as guests turn to watch the scene. William Barnes frowns from across the room but remains silent. Thomas Chen starts to move forward, but another executive places a restraining hand on his arm. Ilsa maintains her composure, efficiently blotting the stain without making eye contact. Her hands are steady despite the humiliation burning in her chest. Since you've ruined the evening, you should explain yourself to everyone, Patricia demands, grabbing Ilsa's wrist and pulling her to stand before the group of investors. Tell these fine people about your background and qualifications. I'm just trying to do my job, ma'am, Ilsa responds quietly, eyes still lowered. See? Not even articulate enough to defend herself. Patricia turns to her audience triumphantly. This is what happens when companies prioritize diversity quotas over qualifications. Ilsa excuses herself, walking with measured steps to the restroom. Once inside a stall, she pulls out her phone, uploads the audio recording and detailed notes of the incident to a secure cloud storage. Her hands tremble slightly now that she's alone. A text message appears from an unknown number. Got it all? Enough to proceed? Ilsa types back quickly. Not yet. Need pattern evidence across multiple employees. She takes 3 deep breaths, straightens her uniform, and returns to the gala with her expression carefully neutral. As Ilsa returns to the gala, she notices William Barnes watching her with an unreadable expression. Ilsa sits cross-legged on the floor of her modest studio apartment, surrounded by meticulously organized evidence. Her laptop displays spreadsheets tracking incidents by date, time, and witnesses. On the wall, a calendar shows day 14 of 30, with previous days crossed off in red. The incident counter in her digital file now reads 27. She rubs her eyes, exhausted after reviewing recordings from the gala. The humiliation still stings, but it's now fuel for her determination. On screen, she organizes evidence showing similar treatment of 5 other employees of color at Vertex, reduced opportunities, excessive criticism, casual denigration. Ilsa's mind drifts to the meeting in her father's office before this assignment began. Marcus Johnson stood at his floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Chicago's skyline, hands clasped behind his back. Vertex Technologies has the innovation we need, he said, turning to face her. Their quantum encryption algorithms are years ahead of competition. But I won't acquire a company with a toxic culture. He handed her a folder containing confidential reports, unusually high turnover rates among minority employees, pending complaints mysteriously dropped. Now, Ilsa secures her apartment door and initiates a call through an encrypted application on her laptop. Her father's face appears on screen, concern evident in his eyes. It's worse than we thought, she says without preamble. The discrimination comes directly from operations leadership, possibly with CEO's tacit approval. Marcus leans forward. Do you have enough evidence for legal action? Almost, Ilsa responds, bringing up her documentation. I've documented 17 incidents directed at me personally and observed similar treatment of 5 other employees. Still need to confirm executive awareness, whether they're actively participating or just allowing it. They discuss legal strategy and regulatory implications. Marcus mentions that Johnson Enterprises' interest in acquisition is now public knowledge after a board member's comment to financial press. Be careful, he warns. If they discover who you are, they'll claim corporate espionage. After ending the call, Ilsa stands before a framed photograph of her grandmother, stern-faced in a 1960s civil rights march, unflinching before police with batons. She touches the frame gently. This isn't just about business, she whispers. It's about justice. The next morning, Ilsa cleans the executive wing before most employees arrive. Through Patricia's office door, she overhears a conversation with William Barnes about an upcoming promotion. I know James has the technical qualifications, Patricia says, referring to a black IT specialist Ilsa has observed working diligently on security protocols. But he's just not executive material. Barnes hesitates. His performance metrics are excellent. Trust me, Patricia insists. He wouldn't fit with the leadership culture. After a pause, Barnes sighs and agrees. Later, Ilsa approaches James at his workstation during her lunch break. I'm just the cleaner, she says quietly, but I see everything that happens here. Something in her tone makes him look up sharply. If you're experiencing discrimination, she continues, you should document it. She slips him a card with contact information for a workplace discrimination attorney connected to Johnson Enterprises. As Ilsa leaves the IT specialist's office, she turns to find Patricia watching her with narrowed eyes. My office. Now. Patricia's voice cuts through the morning quiet of the still empty office. Ilsa follows, cart left behind, posture deliberately submissive as she enters Patricia's glass-walled domain. Why were you talking to James in IT yesterday? Patricia stands behind her desk, not offering Ilsa a seat. Cleaners should be invisible. You're getting too familiar with employees. He asked about cleaning schedule for server rooms, ma'am. The lie comes easily. Patricia studies her, suspicion evident. From now on, you're reassigned to basement storage areas. Executive floor requires discretion. She slides a new schedule across the desk. Effective immediately. The basement storage areas are dusty, neglected spaces filled with outdated equipment and archived files. Ilsa works methodically, creating the appearance of diligent cleaning while examining her surroundings. In a back corner, she discovers boxes of old HR files marked "scheduled for shredding." During her lunch break, alone among the forgotten documents, she photographs personnel files showing qualified, diverse candidates repeatedly rejected with vague notations, "not a culture fit," or "communication concerns." She finds several discrimination complaints filed by former employees, all marked "resolved," despite no apparent action taken. The basement door opens unexpectedly. Ilsa quickly replaces the files, resumes dusting shelves. "Thought I might find you here." Thomas Chen steps into the room, expression troubled. "Patricia asked HR to review your application, claims you falsified experience." He lowers his voice. "She's building a case for termination." Ilsa maintains her cover. "I filled out the agency forms truthfully." "She's targeting you," Thomas persists. "Like she targeted me." He hesitates, then reveals, "I've been documenting her behavior too. Twice I was passed over for promotion despite outperforming colleagues. Both positions went to less experienced white men." Ilsa weighs her response carefully, building trust without revealing her identity. "How long has this been happening?" "Years," Thomas answers. "Most people either conform or leave." The next day, Patricia confronts Ilsa in the employee break room, other cleaning staff present. "I've been watching you," she announces loudly. "You seem very interested in company business for someone who just pushes a mop." She produces a revised schedule. "Your hours are cut. What remains needs to be completed in half the time." Other cleaners, mostly people of color, avoid eye contact with Ilsa, clearly fearful of similar treatment. Later, an older cleaner whispers, "She does this to all of us. Nobody lasts more than a few months." Ilsa updates her evidence file, adding testimonials from cleaning staff. Her calendar now shows day 20 of 30. An email notification appears on Ilsa's phone. William Barnes and Patricia Holden schedule meeting with Legal Re upcoming Johnson Enterprises acquisition talks. The Vertex Technologies offices buzz with acquisition rumors. Employees cluster in corners, voices lowered, discussing potential changes. Johnson Enterprises appears in every conversation, sometimes with hope, sometimes with fear. Patricia strides through the executive floor, energy frenetic, summoning department heads to conference room B. "We need to prepare for due diligence," she announces to the assembled team, not noticing Ilsa quietly replacing trash liners in the corner. Johnson's team will want access to everything: financials, personnel files, performance metrics. She paces the front of the room. "We need to present our best face. Starting immediately, I want a thorough cleaning of all company records and data." One HR manager raises a hand. "Cleaning as in?" "Use your imagination, David," Patricia snaps. "Organize, optimize, focus on positive outcomes." She lowers her voice, but not enough. "And I want temporary reassignment of certain employees during acquisition team visits. We need to put our best foot forward. You know which employees I mean." William Barnes frowns. "We can't hide problems, Patricia. Johnson has a reputation for emphasizing diverse workplaces. It's part of their corporate identity." Patricia dismisses his concern with a wave. "That's just PR talk. When money's involved, Marcus Johnson won't care about a few disgruntled employees." After the meeting, Ilsa waits until the executive floor empties for lunch before cleaning Patricia's office. On Patricia's desk, she discovers printed emails revealing years of manipulated performance reviews. Excellent work by minority employees downgraded with subjective criticisms like "lacks leadership presence" or "not a team player." She quickly photographs each document, The door swings open. Patricia stands in the doorway, eyes narrowing at Ilsa's proximity to her computer. "What are you doing?" "Your trash needed emptying, ma'am." Ilsa gestures to the bin she's already lined with a fresh bag. "I didn't authorize office cleaning during lunch hours." Patricia's voice is ice. "I knew something was off about you. Too educated for a cleaner." She steps closer. "Are you spying for Johnson Enterprises? Corporate espionage is a criminal offense." "I'm just doing my job, ma'am." Ilsa maintains her composure despite her racing heart. Patricia searches Ilsa's cleaning cart thoroughly, finds nothing incriminating. "I'm watching you. One more misstep, you're done." She holds out her hand. "Let me see your phone." Ilsa complies, knowing the device has been wiped clean, evidence already uploaded to secure cloud storage. Thomas appears in the doorway. "Patricia, sorry to interrupt, but I need your input on the PowerPoint for tomorrow's presentation." Patricia reluctantly turns her attention to Thomas, giving Ilsa opportunity to exit with her cart. Later, in the server room, Thomas finds Ilsa. "Patricia's convinced you're spying for Johnson Enterprises. She's ordered security to monitor your movements." Ilsa checks her calendar. Day 24 of 30. Text from her father. "Acquisition meeting moved up. I'm coming to Vertex tomorrow." The morning sun reflects off Marcus Johnson's midnight blue suit as he exits his company car in front of Vertex Technologies. His security team flanks him, earpieces and dark suits marking them clearly as executive protection. At 6'2", with silver temples and commanding presence, Marcus draws attention from Vertex employees arriving for the day. Ilsa arrives earlier than usual, cleaning the main conference room with meticulous care. Under the guise of dusting the centerpiece, she places a miniature recording device beneath the polished walnut table. She tests the sound quality through a discreet earpiece while wiping down chairs. William Barnes greets Marcus in the lobby, professional warmth in his handshake. Patricia hurries forward in designer heels, smile brilliant, but eyes calculating. "Mr. Johnson, what an honor. We've prepared everything for today's discussions." "I appreciate thoroughness," Marcus responds, eyes scanning the lobby where diversity is suddenly much more visible than Ilsa has witnessed in her 3 weeks. Several employees of color have been positioned prominently near the entrance. Throughout the morning, Patricia orchestrates Marcus's tour with precision, highlighting innovation while strategically preventing direct conversations with minority employees. She redirects questions, interrupts potential exchanges, maintains constant presence between Marcus and any staff member of color. During a facilities tour, Marcus asks pointed questions about employee retention. "Your SEC filings show higher than industry turnover. Any particular departments affected?" Patricia smoothly deflects. "Talent is always in demand. We actually see it as proof of our excellent training programs." Between meetings, Patricia corners Ilsa in a side hallway. "Stay away from the executive floor today." Her voice is tight, controlled. "In fact, take the day off." "I need the hours, Ms. Holden," Ilsa protests, maintaining her cover. "I have bills." "Consider it paid leave," Patricia insists, eyes darting toward the conference room where Marcus consults with William Barnes. Instead of leaving, Ilsa changes into business casual clothes kept in her locker. Simple black pants and a blue blouse, hair pulled back neatly. She moves through building corridors with confidence, tablet in hand, now resembling countless administrative staff. From careful distance, she observes acquisition meetings through glass walls. Marcus spots her during a coffee break, but gives no sign of recognition. Later, an encrypted message appears on Ilsa's phone. "Need more definitive evidence. Holden very careful around me." Ilsa responds, "Ready for phase 2, preparing final documentation." Meanwhile, Patricia reviews security camera footage with the head of building security. "Show me everywhere this cleaner has been today." Her fingers tap nervously on the desk. Something's not right about her. She's too interested in our business. William cautions from the doorway. "We can't afford discrimination complaints during acquisition." Patricia's control slips momentarily. Those people always play the race card when they don't get their way. I'm protecting our company. William's expression shifts, suddenly alert. Those people? What exactly do you mean by that, Patricia? Patricia backpedals, explanation unconvincing. William watches her with new awareness. Later, Thomas finds Ilsa in the copy room. Patricia scheduled your termination meeting for tomorrow morning, claims breach of confidentiality. Ilsa sends final message to secure contact. Execute Phase 3 tomorrow, 9 a.m. 9 o'clock sharp. The conference room glass walls offer no privacy as Patricia Holden leads what appears to be a standard termination meeting. William Barnes sits at the table, expression uncomfortable, alongside an HR representative clutching a folder. A security guard stands by the door, arms crossed. Thomas hovers in the hallway, pretending to review documents while watching the scene unfold. Ilsa enters wearing her cleaner's uniform, posture straight, despite the deliberately humbling circumstances. She sits only when gestured to do so. Patricia begins without preamble. Lisa Jenkins, your performance has been substandard since your arrival, and we have reason to believe you've been accessing confidential information outside your clearance level. May I ask what evidence you have of this? Ilsa's voice remains level, betraying none of the anticipation building inside her. Patricia slides forward a printout of cleaning schedules. You were repeatedly found working near executive offices during sensitive meetings. Dick, her manicured finger taps specific highlighted sections. You were specifically instructed to avoid those areas. William shifts in his chair, discomfort evident. Patricia, is this really necessary? She's just a cleaner. Patricia ignores him, produces another document. Furthermore, your application contained falsified information. You claimed high school education from Springfield High, but they have no record of a Lisa Jenkins graduating in the years you indicated. Ilsa checks her watch. 9:08 a.m. Before we continue, I'd like to clarify something. She looks directly at Patricia for the first time since entering. Am I being terminated because of performance issues or because of my race? Patricia recoils as if slapped. How dare you? This has nothing to do with race. Her voice rises sharply. This is about competence and honesty, qualities you clearly lack. The conference room door opens. All heads turn as Marcus Johnson enters, accompanied by a woman in a tailored suit carrying a leather portfolio. Patricia's expression flickers between confusion and alarm. Mr. Johnson, we don't have a meeting scheduled until afternoon. She stands quickly, smoothing her skirt. We're just handling an internal matter. Marcus approaches Ilsa. Everything okay, sweetheart? Patricia freezes, eyes darting between them as understanding begins to dawn. Ilsa stands, removes her cleaner's badge, and retrieves the leather portfolio from her bag. Yes, Dad, just finishing up here. The silence that follows is absolute. William Barnes nearly drops his coffee mug. The HR representative's mouth opens and closes without sound. Ilsa straightens to her full height, professional demeanor transforming her presence. Allow me to introduce myself properly. Ilsa Johnson, Harvard MBA, Chief Compliance Officer at Johnson Enterprises. For the past 26 days, I've been conducting an authorized workplace culture assessment as part of our due diligence process. Marcus steps forward, addressing William directly. Before investing $300 million in acquisition, we needed to understand Vertex's true company culture, not just what appears in official reports. Ilsa opens her laptop, turns the screen toward the table. We've documented 47 instances of racial discrimination, primarily directed by Ms. Holden, affecting 12 employees across departments. The screen displays meticulous spreadsheets, timestamps, incident categories. This is preposterous, Patricia attempts to interject, but Marcus raises his hand. The evidence includes discriminatory hiring practices, promotion denials, targeted harassment, and creation of hostile work environment, all prohibited under federal employment law. His voice carries the weight of decades in corporate leadership. Evidence gathered through legal observation methods. William Barnes examines the documentation, face paling as he scrolls through recordings, photographs, witness statements, and HR records. "Patricia, is this true?" "This is entrapment," Patricia sputters, face flushed with anger. "Corporate espionage disguised as some social justice crusade," Ilsa responds with calm precision. "Actually, it's called testing under federal civil rights law, completely legal and admissible in court." She brings up another document. "Vertex is currently fulfilling 3 federal contracts that require compliance with anti-discrimination laws. This evidence places those contracts, and your company's future, at serious risk." The door opens again as Thomas enters, holding a USB drive. "I have additional documentation of similar incidents going back 3 years, he says, placing it on the table. "Patterns of discrimination I've witnessed personally." Ilsa nods to him. "Your courage is noted, Mr. Chen. I'm recommending you for a position in our compliance division." William Barnes, comprehending the full implications of the situation, asks quietly, "What do you want?" Marcus places 2 document folders on the table. Option 1. We proceed with acquisition, but with significant restructuring of leadership and implementation of comprehensive anti-discrimination protocols. Option 2. We submit this evidence to federal contract compliance programs and the EEOC. Patricia lunges suddenly across the table toward Ilsa's laptop. "You self-righteous—" The security guard moves quickly, but not before Patricia manages to hit several keys. "Delete! Delete!" she shouts as she's pulled away. "You'll never prove anything without evidence." Ilsa calmly closes her laptop, a slight smile playing at her lips. The deleted file was a decoy. All evidence exists in multiple secure locations. Joy. 4 hours after the confrontation, Vertex Technologies' executive boardroom transforms into crisis headquarters. William Barnes sits at the head of the mahogany table, jacket discarded, tie loosened. To his right, Marcus Johnson reviews documents with measured focus. Ilsa stands at the digital display, navigating through evidence files with practiced efficiency. Around the table, Vertex board members wear expressions ranging from shock to calculation. "Patricia Holden has been placed on immediate administrative leave," William announces, breaking the tense silence. "Security has escorted her from the building and collected all credentials and devices." One board member, an older white man with military posture, clears his throat. "This seems excessive. Patricia has been with Vertex for 12 years. Ilsa advances to the next slide, a statistical breakdown of employee turnover by race. In those 12 years, 87% of employees of color either resigned or were terminated within 1 year of hiring, compared to 24% of white employees in similar positions. She highlights specific numbers. These patterns constitute prima facie evidence of systemic discrimination. We have irrefutable evidence of systematic discrimination within our operations department, William acknowledges, facing his board directly. We must take immediate action to address this crisis. The company's legal counsel, a gray-haired woman with sharp eyes, reviews the summary documents. The liability exposure here is substantial. We're looking at potential class action from former employees, violation of federal contracting requirements, and significant reputation damage. Marcus Johnson remains measured. Johnson Enterprises still sees value in Vertex's technology and most of its personnel. Our offer remains, but with new conditions. Across town, Patricia Holden paces her home office, phone pressed to her ear. "Richard, I need your help on this. They're trying to destroy my career over nothing but sensitivity politics." Her husband, Judge Richard Holden, sits at his desk reviewing the evidence file Ilsa sent directly to his judicial email. "You realize this could affect my career too?" he asks, scrolling through documented incidents. "What were you thinking, saying these things on company record?" "They were taken out of context," Patricia insists, desperation edging her voice. "That cleaner, who isn't even a real cleaner, was spying on me." Back at Vertex, Ilsa presents a 3-phase remediation plan to the board. Phase 1. Immediate leadership changes and external audit of all HR practices. Every promotion denial, termination, and disciplinary action from the past 5 years reviewed by independent counsel. She advances to the next slide. Phase 2. Compensation for affected employees. Financial restitution and reinstatement opportunities for those whose careers were damaged by discriminatory practices. This will cost millions, a board member objects. Discrimination already cost you millions in lost talent and productivity, Ilsa counters. Phase 3. Comprehensive restructuring of company culture with ongoing monitoring and accountability measures. The board votes unanimously to accept Johnson's terms, including Patricia's permanent termination and external investigation of all discrimination claims. William Barnes addresses Marcus directly once the vote concludes. I should have addressed this long ago. I failed as CEO by allowing this culture to develop under my leadership. Recognizing the problem is the first step toward fixing it, Ilsa acknowledges. What matters now is the path forward. The HR department begins immediate review of all employees negatively impacted by Patricia's decisions. Thomas Chen receives appointment to interim operations leadership. Legal teams draft formal apologies and compensation offers to employees who left due to discrimination, while the PR department prepares a transparency statement. This isn't just about one bad actor, Marcus tells William as they review implementation plans. It's about systems that enable discrimination to flourish unchecked. Ilsa oversees installation of new reporting mechanisms and anonymous feedback channels. Former employees begin receiving calls from Vertex, many expressing disbelief at the sudden accountability. James, the IT specialist previously denied promotion, sits stunned in William's office as he receives offer for the senior position he deserved 6 months earlier. I almost gave up, he admits. Started thinking maybe I really wasn't good enough. That was by design, Ilsa explains. Discrimination functions most effectively when victims internalize the narrative. Patricia receives formal termination notice via courier, dismissal for cause, forfeiture of stock options worth $1.2 million, no severance package. Her home office becomes command center for her counterattack as she calls every contact in her network, finding most suddenly unavailable or non-committal. 20 years of relationships and no one will take my call? She fumes to her husband, who maintains distracted silence while drafting a statement distancing himself from her actions. At Johnson Enterprises headquarters, Marcus and Ilsa review acquisition progress. Vertex stock dropped 11% on news of the discrimination investigation, an advisor reports. We can negotiate more favorable terms. Marcus shakes his head. We'll maintain the original offer. This isn't about squeezing extra value from their crisis. It's about building a stronger combined entity. William Barnes leads town hall meetings with every Vertex department, acknowledging failures and committing to change. Employee responses range from skepticism to cautious hope. Words mean nothing without action, one administrative assistant states bluntly during a session. We've heard promises before. You're absolutely right, William agrees. That's why we're implementing structural changes with independent oversight and measurable outcomes. The cleaning staff, historically invisible in company discussions, receives particular focus. Their break room, formerly a converted storage closet, undergoes renovation to match facilities available to other employees. Wage reviews result in immediate adjustments to align with market rates. Ilsa meets privately with each cleaner who provided testimony, ensuring their protection from retaliation. Your courage made this possible, she tells the older woman who first warned her about Patricia's pattern of behavior. 3 weeks into the transition, Vertex's general counsel presents preliminary findings from the external audit. We've identified 38 employees terminated or forced out under circumstances suggesting racial bias. Estimated liability for back pay and damages exceeds $7 million. Pay it, William directs without hesitation. And add consideration for career advancement opportunities lost. Marcus reviews the findings with Ilsa. The discrimination was even more pervasive than your investigation revealed. I had limited time and access, Ilsa notes, but enough to establish the pattern and precipitate action. Patricia receives preliminary hearing date for wrongful termination lawsuit she's filed against Vertex. Her attorney advises caution after reviewing evidence. This recording of you telling an employee that people like her belong in the mailroom is particularly damaging, as is this email where you directed HR to find reasons to terminate 3 employees of color. Those were jokes taken out of context, Patricia insists. Everyone talks that way in private. A judge won't see it that way, her attorney warns. Nor will a jury. Thomas Chen leads the team redesigning Vertex's hiring and promotion processes, implementing blind resume screening, and standardized evaluation criteria. The bias was so normalized we didn't even recognize it, he acknowledges during implementation training. That stops now. William Barnes personally calls former employees who experienced discrimination, offering both apology and restitution. Many express shock at the accountability. Some accept offers to return, others have moved on but appreciate the acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Cleaning staff supervisor Gloria Reynolds, who initially warned Ilsa, receives promotion to facilities management with tuition assistance for business administration degree. In 20 years of working, no one ever asked about my career goals before, she tells Ilsa during check-in meeting. Marcus Johnson addresses joint Vertex-Johnson staff 6 weeks after the initial confrontation. This merger isn't just about technology or market share. It's about creating a workplace where innovation can flourish because every person's contribution is valued appropriately. Patricia, watching the live-streamed announcement from her home office, throws her coffee mug at the screen. Sanctimonious grandstanding, she seethes to her empty house, her husband increasingly absent as he distances himself professionally from the controversy. Ilsa establishes ongoing monitoring protocols to prevent backsliding into previous patterns. Culture change isn't accomplished through single actions, she explains to the implementation team. It requires consistent reinforcement and accountability at every level. Local business press covers the Vertex transformation. Discrimination exposure leads to corporate culture overhaul. Industry analysts initially skeptical about the acquisition revise projections upward as employee retention improves and previously sidelined talent advances innovative projects. The Department of Labor reviews Vertex case materials as potential template for enforcement actions against similar corporate discrimination. Federal contracting officers note Vertex's proactive remediation as model response to compliance failures. Patricia's lawsuit proceeds to preliminary hearing, where judge reviews evidence and denies injunction against termination. The documented pattern of behavior constitutes clear cause for dismissal under both company policy and applicable employment law, the ruling states. Patricia's husband attends neither the hearing nor the press conference she attempts to hold afterward. As Patricia clears her office under security supervision, she finds note on her desk. This isn't over. See you in court. 3 weeks later, Patricia Holden sits rigidly at the defendant's table in Vertex Technologies' largest conference room, now reconfigured for the disciplinary hearing. Her attorney, not the prestigious firm she initially retained, but a younger, less established lawyer, arranges documents with nervous efficiency. Across the room, representatives from both Vertex and Johnson Enterprises review evidence files. Department of Labor officials observe from designated seating, expressions professionally neutral. The hearing officer, a retired federal judge with specialization in employment law, calls the proceedings to order. This administrative hearing will determine whether termination for cause was justified under company policy and applicable regulations. Patricia adjusts her still expensive suit, a power outfit selected to project authority she no longer possesses. Her confident facade slips momentarily as Ilsa enters, carrying additional documentation. Patricia's attorney presents opening statement. Ms. Holden maintained high-performance standards consistently applied to all employees regardless of background. This investigation represents political correctness gone mad, sacrificing meritocracy for social engineering. Patricia nods emphatically, pleased with the framing. Furthermore, the attorney continues, The evidence was gathered through deception by corporate spies with clear agenda to devalue Vertex before acquisition. The hearing officer turns to Ilsa. Please present your evidence. Ilsa approaches methodically, activating the room's display system. The investigation documented 73 incidents of discriminatory behavior over 26 days, she begins, advancing through meticulously organized evidence. These are categorized by type: hiring practices, promotion denials, disparate discipline, and hostile comments. She plays selected recordings, Patricia's voice filling the room with damning statements. Each clip includes timestamp, location, and witness identification. We're not just hiring them because they're qualified. It's all quotas now, Patricia's recorded voice complains to a colleague. That's taken out of context, Patricia interjects, but falls silent at her attorney's warning touch. Ilsa continues, presenting statistical analysis. Under Ms. Holden's leadership, 87% of employees of color either resigned or were terminated within 1 year, compared to 24% of white employees in similar positions. Former employees testify about Patricia's discriminatory practices. A black receptionist describes being denied promotion 6 times despite qualifications, while watching less qualified white employees advance. Ms. Holden told me I didn't have the professional presence for client-facing roles, she testifies. When I asked what that meant, she suggested speech therapy to neutralize my accent, though I was born and raised in Connecticut. Patricia shifts uncomfortably as testimony mounts. During cross-examination, her attorney attempts to reframe incidents as performance-based decisions. If these were truly performance issues, Ilsa counters, why do documented performance metrics contradict termination rationales in 64% of cases involving employees of color? As pressure builds, Patricia's composure fractures. You don't understand the realities of corporate leadership, she interrupts during questioning of a former HR manager. Some people just aren't executive material, regardless of what their resumes say. That's not racism, it's reality. The Department of Labor representative makes note of the comment. Patricia's attorney winces visibly. The final evidence presented proves most damaging. Patricia's own emails and messages containing explicit racial slurs and discriminatory directives to subordinates. Find a reason to let Johnson go, one email instructs an HR manager. We don't need his kind here. Patricia stares at the displayed evidence, face ashen. Those were private communications never meant for... Ms. Holden, the hearing officer interrupts. Private bias expressed in official company communications remains relevant to this proceeding. The hearing concludes with unanimous decision, termination for cause, forfeiture of stock options and severance, mandatory company-wide disclosure of findings. Within hours, Patricia's husband issues press statement distancing himself from her comments. The views expressed by my wife do not reflect my personal or professional values as a judge committed to equal justice under law. Former colleagues deny close relationship with her, describing Patricia as merely a professional acquaintance. The law firm where Patricia's husband serves as partner announces internal review of all cases he presided over involving discrimination claims concerned about potential bias. Local news covers the story with damning headline. Executive fired after undercover investigation reveals years of workplace discrimination. The article details Patricia's systematic undermining of diverse employees and quotes former staff members finally speaking publicly about their experiences. As Patricia leaves the hearing, she passes Ilsa in the hallway, whispers, "People like you always get ahead through playing victims." Ilsa simply smiles. Actually, I got ahead through Harvard Business School and exposing corporate misconduct. 6 months later, the grand ballroom of Chicago's Riverside Hotel buzzes with anticipation. Executives from major tech companies, government contractors, and regulatory officials gather for the industry symposium boldly titled Building Truly Inclusive Workplaces. The Vertex Technologies logo, now with a Johnson Enterprise division beneath it, appears prominently on the digital backdrop. Ilsa Johnson, now Executive Vice President of Corporate Culture and Compliance at Johnson Enterprises, approaches the podium. Her tailored suit and confident stance reflect the authority she no longer needs to conceal. Transformation isn't merely about removing problematic individuals, she begins, commanding the room's attention. True change requires examining every system that allowed discrimination to become normalized. Without naming Patricia directly, Ilsa presents the Vertex case study, detailing how discrimination became embedded in company practices. What appeared as individual bias actually reflected systematic exclusion operating through seemingly neutral policies. The presentation displays before and after metrics from Vertex's transformation, highlighting concrete changes implemented. First, we instituted blind resume screening, removing names and demographic indicators during initial evaluation, Ilsa explains, advancing through slides showing the process. Applications are now coded numerically, with qualifications assessed against standardized criteria before any personal information becomes visible. She continues, second, all interviews now follow structured formats with identical questions and evaluation rubrics for every candidate. Panels must include diverse evaluators with equal voting weight. William Barnes, now heading the Vertex division, joins Ilsa for the panel discussion that follows. As CEO, I was part of the problem by remaining silent, he acknowledges openly. Leaders must actively champion inclusion, not just avoid personal discrimination. Neutrality perpetuates existing inequities. Thomas Chen presents compelling business metrics. Our most diverse teams consistently outperform homogeneous ones in product development and customer satisfaction. Innovation has increased 43% by standard industry measures since implementing inclusive practices. The symposium highlights former employees now thriving under the restructured organization. James, the IT specialist previously denied promotion, now leads a major development team responsible for Vertex's latest security protocol breakthrough. Regular culture audits maintain accountability, Ilsa explains, demonstrating the anonymous reporting system now implemented across all Johnson Enterprises divisions. Equity isn't achieved through one-time interventions, but through consistent measurement and adjustment. Industry publication CTO Monthly features the symposium on its cover. Johnson Vertex case becomes blueprint for corporate culture transformation. The article details how the evidence-gathering methodology developed by Ilsa is being adapted by corporate compliance departments nationwide. Several competitor companies announce similar audits and reforms during the weeks following, prompted by both legal concerns and talent acquisition pressures. The market is watching, one CEO acknowledges during Q&A session. Top talent demands inclusive environments. Department of Labor representatives discuss how the Vertex case has influenced new compliance guidelines for federal contractors. This case demonstrated the value of proactive testing versus merely reactive complaint investigation. The compliance director explains, as attendees network during the closing reception, the conversations reflect genuine engagement with systemic change rather than mere damage control. HR executives exchange implementation strategies. Diversity officers compare measurement methodologies. CEOs discuss accountability frameworks. As the symposium concludes, Ilsa receives message on her phone. Patricia has filed lawsuit claiming defamation and wrongful termination, demanding $20 million in damages. 1 year after the acquisition, Ilsa and Marcus Johnson share a quiet dinner in the family home's intimate dining room. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame Chicago's twinkling skyline, the Vertex Technologies building, now displaying the combined company logo among the city's architectural icons. Vertex division exceeded projections by 23% after restructuring, Marcus notes, reviewing quarterly reports on his tablet. Turns out, removing discrimination is good for business. His tone carries satisfaction beyond mere financial metrics. Ilsa sips her wine thoughtfully. How's Gloria's team performing? Remarkably well, Marcus responds. The cleaning staff supervisor you recommended for advancement? She's revolutionized our facilities management approach. 3 other cleaning staff members are now pursuing degrees through our education benefits. And Thomas? thriving as Senior VP of Operations. His security protocol innovations just secured that government contract we've pursued for years. Ilsa nods, satisfaction evident. What about the others? The ones who suffered under Patricia? Marcus sets aside his tablet, giving his daughter full attention. James leads our most innovative development team. Maria returned from competitor to head marketing. Even those who chose careers elsewhere received proper recommendations reflecting their actual capabilities rather than Patricia's biased assessments. A comfortable silence settles between them before Marcus continues. Patricia's defamation lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice last week. Judge cited overwhelming evidence of discriminatory behavior established through legally obtained documentation. I heard she's working at a much smaller company now, Ilsa notes without vindictiveness. Regional sales manager with limited authority. More importantly, Marcus adds, the Vertex case study is now taught at 3 major business schools. Harvard Business Review published your methodology as best practice for corporate culture assessment. 3 Fortune 500 companies have conducted similar undercover assessments, Ilsa confirms. All discovered and addressed similar issues before they became legally actionable. The Department of Labor established new guidelines for corporate compliance based partly on your documentation methods, Marcus adds with paternal pride. You've created change beyond just one company. That's the Johnson legacy, building businesses that value people properly. The following morning, Ilsa visits the transformed Vertex offices. The executive floor now features photographs celebrating diverse team achievements rather than just executive portraits. Meeting rooms named after innovators from various backgrounds replace generic numerical designations. She stops by the cleaning staff break room, now well-furnished, comfortable, with the same coffee machines as the executive floor. Staff schedules allow for educational advancement. Uniforms redesigned for both function and dignity. Gloria, now facilities manager, greets Ilsa warmly. "Look what you started," she says, gesturing to the certification program announcements posted on the community board. 4 of our team members are enrolled in management training programs. "You saw us when we were invisible," adds an older gentleman carefully placing fresh flowers in the break room. "Changed everything." Later, in her office overlooking the Chicago River, Ilsa completes her final compliance report on the Vertex transformation. The last slide displays side-by-side photographs, her grandmother at a civil rights march in 1965 beside a news clipping about the Vertex case. Continuation of legacy across generations. She adds a personal note to the official documentation. Discrimination thrives in shadows. The most powerful act is bringing it into light. One person with evidence can transform a system. Closing her laptop, Ilsa considers the journey from cleaner's uniform to executive leadership. Not the power shift itself, but the justice it enabled. The careers restored, the dignity affirmed, the opportunities created. "Justice doesn't just happen," she murmurs to herself, echoing her grandmother's words from decades earlier. "It's built by those brave enough to expose truth." Did this story resonate with your experiences? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could inspire our next video. And if you found value in today's content, hitting that like button helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages of empowerment. Remember, justice requires both evidence and action. Document everything, then use that evidence strategically. Your voice matters, and we're here to amplify it. This is Beat Stories, where truth prevails and justice is served. Subscribe now.
They say it's just how the world works. We say, change it. At Beat Stories, we capture the exact moment when justice meets its match. Subscribe if you're tired of the same excuses wrapped in different uniforms.